Well, today we'll be joined by Connie Jakab, who faced a desperate struggle to find freedom for her son, who was battling anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Her powerful message will inspire hope and show us how to find freedom for ourselves and others. So we're going to bring her in. She is author of Bring Them Closer, Connie Jakab. She's going to combine practical mental health tools with personal experiences, and she's going to help parents to support their children and teens in navigating mental health challenges. So here she is to share some of her insights. Thank you for joining us, Connie.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Yeah, we're so grateful that you can be here to have this conversation. It's an important one. I know I have 3 kids, and my oldest is 11, so we're sort of just getting into that preteen years. And I know there's been questions that we've had as we've seen him process things or go through some emotions. So in your recent book, Bring Them Closer, you share your own story about your son's mental health journey starting at the age of 8. He started to begin dealing with depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. As a mother, what were some of your most difficult moments and challenges during this time?
I think for us, it was the fact that depression didn't show up as sadness, it showed up as rage and anger. And I'm okay with sad, but anger is, well, it's scary, and I don't really know what to do with it. Even as a Christian, I was taught that anger is wrong. And I remember when we brought him to the hospital, the psychologist asked me, "What do you do when your son is throwing fits of rage?" I said, "I send him to his room. That's how I was raised. And I tell him, you can't come out until you're ready to be a good boy." And this is when she said to me, "Oh, no, you never send the hurting away from you. You bring them closer."
And that's obviously how you got the title of Bring Them Closer. So go into a little bit of that with us. Can you explain what you mean by bringing them closer?
Well, and that's exactly what I was wondering when she said uh, to bring him closer. I didn't really know what she meant. And I certainly wasn't thinking, what a fantastic book title. For me, I think the learning came the year that we brought our son home, and realizing that I had to allow God to come into the places in my heart where I was not okay with hard emotions, and to allow God to bring me closer to Him in areas where I felt like I needed to be in control, where I had my own emotional dysregulation. And I had to kind of come to this place where I was at peace with where we were at, so that I could be my son's bottom hands. A lot of people ask me, "What did you do for him?" Not much. I didn't do much for him. I actually had to focus a lot on my own healing, my own mental well being. And I found out that mental health in our homes and schools, wherever we are, it's actually better caught than taught. It's imparted by how I live my life, and how am I okay with my own anxiety so I can help manage my kids' anxiety. Anger, anxiety, depression, these are very helpful emotions. And when we become afraid of them, we seek to control or punish. And those things aren't in the kingdom. And I learned a lot about what the kingdom is in parenting. We don't seek to control. We don't use fear. We don't punish. We bring closer. That means managing me first is probably the biggest learning I had.
Wow, that's powerful. It's so we often, when someone is hurting that we love, we just want to fix it for them, right? But it's so much more than that. And you can find healing between both you and your son. So your son did find hope in healing from his anxiety and depression. Can you share what helped him and you then during this journey?
I truly believe that it was from me not feeling the fear. Fear is contagious, but so is courage, so is hope. And I didn't realize how much I was parenting through fear. And that fear would only increase the anxiety. Where as soon as I began to lean on God, began to allow Him into those crevices of my heart and be okay with those hard emotions, I was able to listen more. I was able to sit in the presence of what seemed like chaos, and say, "Son, we love you. Nothing's going to break our connection with you. We're not trying to change your behavior. Behavior is communication of a bigger story going on. And when we can get underneath behavior to the real story, which takes we have to abandon fear and control and punishment in order to get to that place. When I have what I think that I need to fix, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to get underneath behavior. I'm just going to try to manage the behavior. And this is what I see a lot in our mental health issues. We're just trying to band aid the issue rather than getting to, well, what brought that person to that place? Why are we there? And really getting curious and allowing ourselves to go a little deeper, just like Jesus did. He never looked necessarily at the outward behavior, he always looked at what was underneath. And that's where the transformation happened. I think that's another one of my greatest learnings in that time.
Wow, that's incredible. It's even as a parent right now, it's so good to hear that and to really understand that as well. So if there's a parent, even a grandparent maybe that's listening whose child or grandchild is dealing with mental health difficulties, what advice would you give them?
I would say don't give up hope. You know, the world says that this is a
Mhm.
huge problem and it's almost unsolvable. We come at this already with a fear lens. I would encourage you to come with a hope lens and to know that you have what it takes to bring this child closer. I wrote over myself during this time that I am brave. I show up when it's hard. I love without walls. I forgive when it hurts. God's going to help me rise through the storm. And that is for you as well. That's your inheritance. And we can be the culture creators in our homes and see our kids come through these things when we allow God into the process with us.
Well, so good. Thank you so much, Connie. That is such an encouragement. If you want to know more about the book, Bring Them Closer, you can visit 700club.ca. Thanks again, Connie, for joining us.